Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
This is Oscar Bevis for IFL TV. Jon Pegg, Josie. Good to see you, my friend. Coventry, the Midlands, your territory. How's things?
Yeah, really good. It's been a busy few weeks. I've had lads fighting for titles at our own show, and now we've got the big GBM show this week. So yeah, it's really good. And then we got Frank Warren here next week with the Magnificent Seven. So it's a really good few weeks for Coventry, Birmingham, the Midlands.
Yeah, the Midlands is thriving. I know it's kind of perhaps a bit of a cliche when people say somewhere's a boxing town or a boxing area. Can a place really be a boxing area, or have you genuinely just always had kind of a lot of talent in and around kind of this way?
I'll be honest, up until about 10 years ago, we really struggled. We was behind London, we was behind the Northwest, and like Birmingham was kind of known as a town for journeymen. They was known for all the high quality journeymen. They had your Peter Buckleys, your Jason Nesbitts, your Carl Taylors, top quality journeymen who just fight anyone, anywhere, any rounds. But the lads who did well in Birmingham, they had to travel. Like Matthew Macklin travelled a lot. Rob McCracken ended up going out to America and stuff. Don Broadhurst was up in Manchester for a while. Frankie Gavin started in Manchester. The Birmingham lads couldn't really get started at home, so they had to travel to get their chance. And then 10 or 11 years ago, we just started doing some good grassroots shows, started bringing lads through, and then people started getting the chances and proving a point, and then they started coming. I think Eddie Hearn was the first. He brought some big title fights for Sam Eggington with some big names on the card, and then people started to have a look and go, oh yeah, this could be good, and it's built up from there.
Yeah, you mentioned the opportunities that people got. There's such a wealth of platforms now. So we've got GBM here, like you said, Frank coming in a couple of weeks. Eddie's been, the Wasserman show in Telford, Boxer have been at the halls in Wolverhampton. So I guess more platforms is kind of the reason for this more opportunity.
Yeah, and boxers kind of being prepared to dig the heels in and stay at home. Like I say, a lot of really good Birmingham fighters had to travel to get them opportunities because they was elsewhere. Well, then a few of them started saying, no, I'm going to do it here and proving a point. And then people give them the chance. And like Wasserman came and done the show with Sam Eggington and Abbas Baru the other day. And, as most Eggington fights, it's a contender for Fight of the Year. They've now put a bid in and won for Shaq Petter's European title fight. So they obviously enjoyed it. You had Mick Hennessy. He brought TV back to Coventry. Everyone's come here and had a go, and it's worked. But it's a hard region to crack. But the lads are decent.
Yeah, I do like the Sky Dome, although because it's an ice rink, it's always quite cold on the feet, I will say that. I remember coming here for a couple of mixers. Obviously, this is where GBM will be on Saturday night. Some real good young talent from the area. Niall Berry's one who stands out. I spoke to him for the first time properly at Joshua-Ngannou versus Dan Aziz. We just had a little chat off camera. Really nice guy. And from what I'm hearing, we're talking about a real talent.
Yeah, I've been telling people about Niall Berry since his first fight. And I said to people, just remember, 10 or 11 years ago, I was telling you about an 18-year-old called Eggington, and you was all laughing, going, well, he hasn't done anything as an amateur. He ain't going to do nothing. And I was saying, no, I know how to spot a good fighter. And I got the exact same feeling about Niall Berry. And
in terms of excitement levels around Sam?
I don't think you'll ever have anyone who's quite as exciting as Sam. But Niall's, he's got all the same attributes. He's tough, he's vicious, he can punch, he likes to stick it on him. I train fighters who are aggressive to fight a certain way, and it works. So yeah, and he's done the right thing. He hasn't worried about getting on TV. He's made sure he's active. He's stepped up when I've asked him to step up. He's been avoided like the plague. I think he's had 3 title fights now where they've been ordered and they've all just dropped out on him. But if he keeps winning and with a bit of backing, I think they're going to unveil his signing today. I think he's really going to do stuff. He lives the life. And since he started his career, I made him train alongside Sam because I wanted him to see how hard you have to train to be a champion from fight one. Don't wait to be in a title fight to train like that. Train like it from day one and you're ready to go. But yeah, no, he's got a good fighter Saturday. He's got a kid who's about 60 places above him in the rankings. he's got a half and half record, but in Mexico, that usually means you're a good fighter. He's got plenty of wins over winning records, this kid has, and he comes to fight, so I think Niall's going to really impress people.
Funny you should say he's avoided like the plague. I guess word kind of travels quite quickly on the circuit. You mentioned Sam Eggington. I want to cover obviously that defeat to Abbas Baral. A brilliant fight, but I know Sam loves being in brilliant fights. Obviously, he wants to come out on the right side. So, what's kind of the aftermath been like for Team Eggington?
Do you know what? Sam's always been very down to earth. It is what it is. No complaints. It was what it was. But I just think Abbas was a touch fresher than Sam. You know, even though they're virtually the same age, there's a big difference in wars and hard 12-rounders. And I think Sam 2 years ago, the Sam who fought Jakitu, would have had the edge, but he was searching for that bit of extra energy, what used to be there naturally. So, you know, but I said to Sam, I think it was yesterday, a lot of guys, when they're finding them tough fights at the end of their careers, they find them by getting knocked spark out. How many times have we seen good, long-serving champions, when they come up against a fresh guy who's full of ambition, they find out in a really rough, tough way. I said, to go out on a majority decision in a fight that was anybody's fight till the last few rounds, I said, it's not a bad way to look at things. So we're going to have a sit down and we're going to have a good chat. I don't think he's going to retire, but there's definitely going to be some slowing down, and there's definitely going to be a kind of exit strategy put in place now. I want him to finish as his career as well as he's had a career. So we're just going to have a good look at it because, you know, it is what it is.
Obviously, I know you've got to have them discussions. But when you talk about an exit plan, does that mean being less active? But obviously, you don't want to be too inactive because then you kind of lose any momentum you build. Does that mean taking less difficult fights? But then when you've been at the level that Sam's been at, I guess you kind of don't want to be taking fights that aren't at the kind of upper echelon of the sport. What is an exit strategy for a fighter like Sam, who's been in so many big fights?
Right. The exit strategy is to give yourself a time period to finish with pride, to kind of pick the fights that suit him now. Like, a lot of time, as you get to the last part of a career, if you really want a good exit strategy, fight people in the same stages. Don't fight a young buck. You know, like when Paulie Malignaggi fought Sam, he got retired. You know, Sam was too big and fresh and strong. If Paulie had fought another 35-year-old, he would have perhaps nicked it on points, at worst lost it on points. And so the exit plan is to make sure that he's matched correctly for where he's at now, and that he goes out a happy person. Because what I don't want is, and you see it sometimes, fighters retire and then they're itching for 2 years later and they do something silly. A lot of my guys, we find the right fight to finish, the right time span to finish, and they stay finished. They're content. So that's the exit plan. It's to make sure he goes out how he deserves to go out, that he kind of finishes on his own terms, and he's ticked the box. Well, he's already ticked every box he ever wanted to tick, and he hasn't been silly. He hasn't been a stupid spender. But you've got to do it right, otherwise you end up with an itch that wants to be scratched 3 years later. So that's the idea. We're going to have a sit down, we're going to have a good chat, and we're going to do exactly what's right for him. Not what's right for a promoter who needs a good fight. Not what's right for an opponent who wants a name on his record that's a little bit past his best. It will be doing what's right for him, you know what I mean? And that'll be the exit plan.
When that day does come, we would have lost this generation's most exciting fighter, and I think that is unquestionable. Right, John, before this show on Saturday, we got Friday night from Riyadh. Because it's not your traditional boxing fight, is it one you can get kind of as up for as Joshua fights or heavyweight fights of recent?
Oh, you know me, you'll go to a show and I'll be sitting in the front row when it's empty, when there's 4 rounders on. It's a boxing fight. It's intriguing. It's 2 guys who are genuinely trying to win, and they've both got ways to win. So no, I'll be enjoying it. I don't get super excited for any fights anymore. No, I really don't. They're just fights, but I enjoy them. I enjoy them thoroughly. But I enjoy a 3-0 kid against a 2-1 kid in a 4-rounder that I know is going to be a good matchup, as much as I enjoy a Bivol fighting someone. I enjoy the spectacle and the competition. But I don't get like this, it's Wembley. I've been at them big shows with lads on the undercard and I've gone home and I've watched it on TV because the spectacle and it doesn't mean anything. If it's a good fight, I want to watch it where I can see the replays, I can hear a bit of commentary. I've got a bit of peace and quiet because I do get tugged a lot and like, oh, what does that mean? What does that mean? I'm like, oh, leave it out, you know. So I've been on them big shows, so respectively, it doesn't bother me. But no, I'll be watching it with a lot of interest. I'm a big Anthony Joshua fan, you know, for his trials and tribulations and some of the crazy stuff he's said. I love the way he goes about things. I like his attitude. And I know behind the scenes he's a genuinely nice guy. You know, I know a lot of stuff is media training, but I know he's a nice guy, so I'm a big Anthony Joshua fan. And this Ngannou seems a good guy. Jumped in the sport from another sport, nearly toppled Tyson. So I like his attitude as well. So I'll be rooting for Joshua, but I'll be watching it with a lot of interest. But it don't excite me way more than it would like a Midlands area title fight between two unbeaten kids, I'll be honest.
I can guess from everything you've seen, I can kind of understand you saying that. Do you think Joshua knocks him out?
I think he does. Yeah. Maybe not knock him out, maybe stop him. Yeah. Maybe like have
It'll be a hard guy to nail to the floor, it seems, completely.
Yeah. And he could be very dangerous when he's nailed to when he's down. So I think Joshua might get on top of him and then use that little bit more nastiness that he's got over Fury. Even though I think Fury's a more naturally talented fighter, Joshua's got that bit more nastiness to perhaps put a flurry together when Ngannou's trying to like get his equilibrium and force a stoppage maybe on his feet around rounds 5 or 6. But it's two big heavyweights and they can both hit, so it'll be interesting.
Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.